Welcome back all. Today we are planning to see about Linux basic commands as part of our Devops learning series. So before we start, right, ensure that your Linux server is up and running, which we configured in our day one. If you have not watched the video, please watch the day one, day two, day three, so that you better understand what are we doing. Okay, so start our Linux server, then go to your mobile XM. Yeah, we can even do the learnings in our server itself, but as a best practice to make yourself comfortable, just use the mobile XM. So as my server is up, it's asking for a password. I'm not going to save. Okay, so we are in the server now. Okay, so what are the basic commands which we need to learn, right? So let's have a comparison with Windows. Okay, so once you log into Windows, if you want to look what are the files inside a directory, okay, so how do you check that? Okay, even before, so if you want to check what are the files in a directory, you should know in which directory you are going to check, right? So I logged in and I am in some place because it's kind of a pure black and white screen, right? So how do I know in which directory I am in? So that's where like we have a handy command like pwd, which is nothing but present working directory. So this will let you know where are you currently. Okay, so right now I am in home slash oracle directory, right? So how do I go about listing the files? How do I list the files present in my directory home slash oracle? So there is a command called ls. Hope you have seen in our initial video, but I am reiterating the same just for keeping track. Okay, ls command is going to list down the files in a directory. Okay, so it depends on your SSH client. If you are using putty, it will be like just black and white. If you are using any advanced editors or SSH clients like MobileXM, you will have the color differentiation between the files and directories, something like that, right? So that's why you see some color here. But most of the time, if you work with Linux systems, it will be like kind of a black and white. Okay. Now, see, it just lists the files, which is something to your Windows icons, right? So it just show the icons. It doesn't give you the details about like when the file is created, who is created, what is the size, something like that, right? So if you want to get those details in Linux, there is an additional option associated with ls command, which is nothing but ls-l. So which is going to give you the long listing of files. Means that it's going to give you some more additional details about the file or metadata about the file, like who is the owner, the owner, to which group he belongs to, and the date when it's created or modified, the size of the file, and what are the permissions associated to the file or directory. Okay, now in general, when you work in real time, right, we just don't use ls-l because we want to see, basically when you want to search for any file, either you look for an oldest file or you look for a recent file, most of the cases, right? I don't say that okay it is mandatory, but we generally do that. Okay, when you give ls-l, if you notice this, right, it's sorted based on file name. Okay, someone if you ask you to sort the file name, just ls-l will do that. Okay, in most of the cases. Okay, so if I want to sort it based on my time, creation time or modification time, it will be ls-lt. Basically it sorts based on the modification time. Okay, if you look at now, see, if you compare the results between ls-l, the first file is apex. Here the first file is set size log, because it keeps the latest file at the top and the oldest file at the bottom. That's where if you see August, April and March. Okay, but this is really helpful when I have a less amount of files, right? For example, I have like only 20 or 25 files hardly here. So I can able to see the latest file at the top. But assume that in my directory, if I have 100 plus files, I need to scroll above to look the latest file. Okay. So in order to avoid that, Linux provide another option called ls-ltr. L is nothing but long listing, T is nothing but sort based on time, R is nothing but reverse. Okay. Now if you look at it, sorted based on time, but reversed means that the oldest file at the top, the latest file at the bottom. Now even though you have thousands of files, you will have all your latest files at the bottom. Hope I am clear. Okay. So, and one more thing, right? Okay, Kumar, like if I want to search a specific file in a folder, I know the file name. Let's take an example like set size log. Okay, you can just simply give ls-ltr this file name. It's going to list the file. Okay, it even supports ls-ltr. You don't know the extension. Okay, it's like mobile XM feature. If you use shift insert, it just show you whether you want to copy this line. Okay. So I don't know the extension. I know like the file name. Even the wildcards are supported. Okay, the wildcards can be anywhere. So you see a file which contains a string set in the name. So this has set, this has set. Here also we have set. This is also set. So if I want to filter all the log files, okay. So this is how we use ls-ltr command. Okay, and one more important option we have. What is that? So now if you look at it, just displays only the normal files. Even it's same in the Windows, right? Most of the time you will see only the normal files in your folders. If you want to see the hidden files, there is an option in Windows where you have to enable like show hidden files in your menu, or it will be in the ribbon if you are using the latest versions of Windows. Okay, so the same way in Linux also it does not by default show the hidden files. Okay, if you want to see the hidden files, there is an option called ls-ltra. Okay, a option will show you the all the hidden files. For example, if you see the files which is starting with a dot, these are known as hidden files. Okay, so why should we need the hidden files? In our upcoming session there are more important features with which needs to be discussed about the hidden files, like environment variables, environment files, how your profiles are getting loaded. There are many important things which we are going to discuss in our upcoming session. With respect to this particular basic comment session, just to know, there is an hidden file in Linux also. Okay, that can be seen with the help of options -a. That's why we use ls-ltra. Okay, hope I am clear. Okay, so if I want to clear the screen, okay, clear is the command to clear the screen. Okay, you can ask, hey, Kumar, like what happens, like all my comments and whatever I executed, is that cleared? No, usually Linux will just keep your prompt at the top, but all the comments will be moved upwards. So you can anytime you can refer, but again it depends on certain SSH clients. Some clients will only show you the last 2000 lines, and it's again a setting. If you want to increase it, yes, you can increase it. Okay, just for caution of note. So now Kumar, I know how to check the current working directory and how to see the files. What is the next option you guys will do? Either you will try to create a file. Okay, how to create a file in Linux? Again, let's go with the comparison of Windows, right? So how do you create a file? Either you will have an editor, which is nothing but notepad. You will open a notepad, do some changes, save the file in the respective location. The same way, vi is nothing but editor in Linux. We have multiple editors: nano or vi, vim, an advanced version of vi. So there are many editors, but for now know that okay, vi is an editor we will use, followed by a file name. For example, I'm going to create like Devops training.txt. Let's assume that it's a file name. So the beauty of vi is, if you press enter, if the file exists, it will open the file. If the file does not exist, it will create a file. Okay, in our case this file does not exist, so it's going to create a file. Okay, it's created a new file. for your editing. Okay, I am going to edit this file. Again, there are few sequence of steps which you need to follow in order to get yourself familiar with Linux based editors. Ideally, many of the experienced people struggle to edit a file on the Linux server. They will move the files to the local machine, do the editing, and they will send back the files to the remote server. Okay, in our course, I am going to edit in the server itself. There are few basic tips which you need to know. If you want to edit, by default, Linux does not allow you to edit. Okay, if you type, except you should be in insert mode. For example, I typed some keys randomly, it changed to insert mode. Let me go out of it. So if I type, it won't edit. Either you have to press I. If you press I, it means that you are entering into an insert mode. You should see this shows as insert. Now if I try to type, okay, I love DevOps training. Okay, so now I have entered the file, or I entered the content whatever is required to me. Okay, there are many ways to save and many ways to close, but I will show you the most frequent ways. There will be another dedicated session how to edit the files and how to save and everything. We will just cover a little bit of it, right? So if I want to save the file, okay, you have to come out of insert mode. So how do I come out of insert mode? Just press escape symbol. You will see that insert is moving away. Now press colon WQ. Okay, enter. Now if you go and look, you will have a file called devopstraining.txt which has some content. Now Kumar, you have said if I open up the file which is existing, it will open with the content, right? Let us try that. So now vi devopstraining.txt. Hope you are seeing the content again. So now I am not going to do any changes to the file, or I'm not going to save it. Okay, if I want to save it, as I mentioned, you should use colon WQ. That will save the file. No, now you just open the file just for viewing, right? You're not going to do any save or anything. Just press. Okay, now if you see, I'm not going to press escape because I am not in insert mode. So just press colon Q, enter. It just quit without saving. Your changes are not saved. Okay, if your changes are getting saved, it means that the time here will get updated. The modification time here will get updated. If you want to check out that, it doesn't get updated. Means that I just quitted it. I opened the file, I seen the file and I closed it. Okay, hope I am clear. Okay, so Kumar, you may be asking this question, right? Kumar, in Windows, I go right click new test document. In that case, the file will get created. If you want to edit, you have to open the file and edit. Hope you are getting the difference, right? If you open up a notepad, it means that you open a notepad, you do the changes and then saving it. But it is different, right? In Windows, if you go and right click new text document, it means it will create a file named new text document.txt. You have to open it or rename, then do the changes, right? So similar way, Linux also provide the capability to create a empty file. So there is a specific command. Either you open a file with vi and save it without doing any changes, or there is a specific command called touch devops training 1.txt. So you have to note the difference. I am giving 1 here. So it means it does not open the file for editing. It just create an empty file. So what I am going to do, whatever I have learned so far. So I am going to use asterisk to find the files. So you see there is a file called DevOps training and there is another file called DevOps training 1. So if you look at the DevOps training 1, the size of the file is 0. It means it's an empty file. So the size of the file is 23 bytes. It means it has some data in it. Okay, hope I make clear. Okay, let's move forward. So Kumar, in Windows, as per of organizing my files, right? In generally people used to organize the files. So as part of organizing the files, I try to create a directory and keep my files into the separate directory. Okay, now how do I do it in Linux? So let's learn that now, right? So to create a directory, we have mkdir command. So mkdir is nothing but make directory. Okay, let's take make directory Devops training. So I am going to create a directory called Devops training. Underneath, I am going to keep my Devops training related files. It's a perfect way of organizing, right? So that's what I'm planning to do in the Linux server. Okay, now let me press enter. Okay, I have a directory created. So let me try to ls-ltr Devops training start. So I'm going to see what are the files called Devops training. You see, there are two files with the name DevOps training.txt, and there is a directory called DevOps training with of 0 byte. It does not have anything. Okay, how do I see about it? Let me give ls-ltr without any filters so that it show you. You see that this is the directory which we created newly. How do you identify it's a directory? The name start the first this character, right? The permissions. You see the first character is D. Wherever you see the first character is D, that denotes as directory. Wherever the first character is hyphen, it denotes as file. Okay, in Linux, extension does not matter. Okay, you can keep any extension. You can keep like DevOps training.kumar, DevOps training.ram, whatever is extension does not matter in Linux. Okay, for that sake. So you have to always go with this. If it is like hyphen, it's a file. If it is D, it's a directory. There are some few other special files are there, which I will explain you in the later part when we discuss about these permissions, how it works and everything like that. Okay, that's more important for a DevOps engineer to know. Okay, for now it's fine. So Kumar, like now I have created a directory. In ideal scenario in Windows, I will move the files or I will copy the files. Okay. So now we will learn how to move the files to this directory and how to copy the file to this directory. Okay. Before that, let me ask you one question, right? How many of you noted down this in Windows? Probably if you guys are watching this video, just take that at least now in Windows. That there is a huge difference between copy and move. Okay. Let me try to explain as much as I can now. Okay. If you have doubts, please have the comment section so that I can able to cover it in a separate video. Okay. Now, if you look at, I am going to move this file. Okay. How do I move this file? We have a command called move. Okay. So if I am moving anything, you should know the source, right? So usually what we do in Windows, we go right click, cut and go to the target directory, right click, paste, right? So you should have a source and the target. So in Linux, yes, the same. So I am going to move this file, Linux training1.txt, where I am going to move the file to a DevOps training directory. So this is the directory, right? So I am going to move the file. So press enter. Now do ls-ltr. So if you look at, you have only one file present here, DevOps training, and the other file will be within this directory. So as we discussed, I will go to this directory and do ls-ltr to see the file. Yeah, here you go. Correct? Okay, now Kumar, I went into the directory. In Linux, in Windows, I know I will press the back button or I will go with the exact path to go to the certain directories. How do I go in Linux? It's applies the same way, right? If you want to go back on directory, you have cd dot dot. Cd is nothing but change directory. Okay, change directory dot dot denotes that you are going back one directory. Means that if you do pwd, you are in home/oracle DevOps training. If I give cd dot dot, you will go to home Oracle. Am I made clear? Okay, I am going to do that. Let's give pwd. I am in home/oracle. Okay, there are other ways to do it. Okay, let me go back again to the same directory. If I want to go in Windows, we generally do, right? We copy the path, put in the Explorer, it takes you to that particular location. The same way, it's nothing but giving the absolute location. Okay, so cd. So what is my absolute location which I have to go? /home/oracle. So I'm going to copy and paste it here. Okay. In Linux, selection is nothing but whatever the things you select, it's automatically copied. You have to just do a paste. I use the shortcut shift insert to paste it. Okay. Or you can use your cursor, right click, copy, paste everything. Okay. That's either way it works. So now I am using the relative option, PWD. It still works. Okay. Both the options, whatever you are using in Windows, it still works with Linux. Okay. Let me again go back to DevOps training to explain few more things. Okay. Linux has one more beauty. It's similar to your back option. When you guys watching any videos on TV, right? Any channels on your TV, someone suddenly comes and change the channel. In TV remote, we have an option called back, where it will take you to the previous location where you are watching. The same way in Linux also we have a easy way of to go back to the previous directory where you are working on. So if you look at I am in DevOps training. In my earlier case, I was working in /home/oracle. So if I want to go back to that particular directory where I was working earlier, cd hyphen will help you to do that. Got it? Okay, I made very clear. So there is another way. Okay, this is like, okay, I will explain that particular piece little bit later. There is another option with cd. Okay, maybe let's take I am in some random directory. I went to some random directory. So I am in some XXY directory. Now my intention is to go to my home directory. Okay, this option will only take you to the home directory, nowhere else. Okay. For example, if I want to go back to my home directory at any point of time, it's not just previous directory or anything, right? Wherever you are. Okay, if I want to instantly go to my home directory, just press cd tilde symbol. Most of the websites you have, right, there will be a button called home. It instantly take you to your home page or home site. The same way in Linux, if you want to instantly go back to your home directory, you can use td tilde symbol. It takes you to the home directory. If you do pwd, you will be in Oracle home. Hope I made all the most widely used options. Okay. Okay. Now let's coming back to our commands, right? So we have seen move command now. Let me do copy now. I have one more file, DevOps training. I want to copy this file to DevOps training folder. So in Linux, the same way we have copy. CP command is nothing but copy. Okay, I am copying this file and my target directory is DevOps training. Enter. So cd DevOps training ls-ltr to view the file. Okay. So now this is what I am about to say you guys. See, if you guys keenly noted or not, I am not sure. If you keenly noted, when I moved the file, see for example this DevOps training one, when I moved this file, the associated metadata did not get altered. Means that the time which was when the file last modified did not get altered when you move the location of the file. For example, if you scroll a little bit above, oh, where it is, yep, you see, right? From here, I moved the file to DevOps training. If you look at the time, it's 16:59. It retains the same time here, 16:59. So when you move a file, it just internally change the pointer in the memory. Okay, which does not alter the modification time. So this is very, very key. Most of the time people tend to confuse. Okay. But whereas this is not the same case when you do a copy. Copy is nothing but you are taking a copy of the same content and placing it in a different location inside the memory. So your pointer is not changing. It's in the same position, but you are creating a new location in the memory. So your time gets updated. If you see the time of DevOps training, earlier it was 6:57 and it's 17:08. And you will have two copies of the file. One is within the DevOps training, one is outside. Let us see that, right? Okay, you see the file within the DevOps training. If I go back and see, you will still have that file. Hope I make like copy and move. And one more things, guys, copy, move, or ls, or any commands you take in Linux, it has multiple options. Okay, you can do recursive copy, you can do recursive move. Okay, you can just use the copy command based on the wildcard, which I use for LSF and LTR. There are many options. As part of this time is concerned, I am not going into detail, but wherever is needed, I will explain throughout the course, right? Whenever you are using it, I will explain all the things. If you want to learn, Linux provides the detailed way of manual, which is nothing but MAN. If you want to learn more, what are the options which CPUs, man CP. This will give you the detailed manual. But again, we will use most of them when we actually work on the scripting part. Because if I start explaining all of them, then it will be a, I don't think so the time will be really enough to cover in this single session. So I'm not covering in detail, but exactly in our upcoming series, we will discuss most of the things when we write a shell script based on the scenarios. Okay. If you just press Q, you will come out of the manual. Okay. Now, so now Kumar, like usually when I did a copy or something, if I want to delete a file, I just go back to the Linux machine, right click delete, or just press a delete button will do that. But how will I do that in Linux? Okay, Linux has a command called rm. Okay, rm will help you to delete this file. So now your file is no more. Okay. And if you want to, you ask me like Kumar, it just deleted, it's not interactive. It should ask me in Windows, like it will ask yes or no. Yes, it has its option like -i. You can use to make it very interactive. It will even ask yes or no to delete. Okay. Now, in Windows, if you go and delete a directory, you just press again a delete symbol. Correct. But in Linux, it does not work. For example, rm, we have a command called rmdir. So this is a directory, right? It won't delete a directory which has content in it. Okay, rmdir cannot remove a directory if it has a content. So it needs an empty directory. So you need to delete the file, okay, inside the directory first to delete a directory. Or generally, I mentioned you, right? Every command has its own recursive part to delete. So rm -r. So remove recursively. So what this remove command does, it goes delete the files in the directory and delete the folder also. So now you don't see your DevOps training directory. Okay. Hope I made it clear. Okay, with the comparison of Windows. If you have any doubts or any clarification needed, or Kumar, like you are moving very fast, or Kumar, you need to reduce your face, please feel free to comment your feedback, improve our session. Okay. If you like this video, please do subscribe and share with your friends. Hope this might be helpful for them to build their career. Okay. Thanks, friends. Thanks. We will be meeting you with another interesting session. Thank you.